Happy Thursday evening. I figured tonight's video I would do a video on who Eric was as a human. So he was, oh, I need water. I am thirsty as hell. Hold on, I'm gonna pause for a second. Okay, that's better. It's getting late, but I don't have grief support group tonight, so I figured it was a good night to make a video. So, Eric was a humanitarian. He believed in equal rights for everybody. He very much believed in the Constitution. He was very politically active. In fact, one of the things he said in the hospital, well, he was still able to, before he lost consciousness, was he thought that he had the stroke and that it was a conspiracy from Trump and Trump was trying to kill him. I don't know. But he was very politically active, and one of the last things that we did together outside of the home before he had his stroke was we actually went to the first No Kings rally, which happened to be his first protest. And as somebody who's done protests like her entire life, it was very cool to take my husband to his very first one. Hi, Princess. Yes, can I help you with something, ma'am? Would you like something? You want snuggies? Okay, I give you lovies. So, yeah, so he was funny as hell and loved to make people laugh. Apparently she wants the video to be all about her. Let's see, what else can I tell you? He was devoted to his family, and his goals in life were very much about us, me and the kids. He couldn't wait to be a grandfather, which he did get to meet our grandson and did get to spend the first few months of Jackson's very, very young life. I mean, he's almost 20 months. So he did get to spend 9 months with him before he lost consciousness. So he did get to spend some quality time with him, not enough. And I think it's really sad that the first time Jackson said Grandpa was after Eric had passed. He never got to hear it. But he does have an Ewok stuffed animal that was his grandfather's that he calls Grandpa, and he drags that thing everywhere. You know, and he's always going over to pictures of him and saying Grandpa, which is very sweet. You know, one of his greatest joys in life were, he said, the 4 days of his life that meant the most to him out of any days was hi, Princess. Apparently Princess just wants the video to be about her. The 4 greatest days of his life were the day he met me and married me. Of course, those 2 days were 5 years apart, but so I was one of the greatest gifts that he had gotten in life. The other two, number 2 and number 3 for greatest gifts, were our children, and number 4 was Jackson. You know, he married my son and our oldest son and his wife. He baptized our grandson. He was a minister. He was a man of faith, though he did not cram it down people's throat. You know, he didn't care what sexuality you are. He believed love is love, and if you wanted to get married, if you asked him, he would do it. He was a fighter. He had, God, he was the strongest person. He was my greatest protector. I always knew I was safe, and we had so many adventures together. I have so many hysterical stories. But our origin story, I will start with our origin story, was, I was in summer school, and at the time, his best friend, they had a falling out over something really dumb. Um, Someday I'll get to that story. They, he was working at Eric was working at a gas station. And his friend was interested in one of my girlfriends and said, I want you to meet my best friend. We can go on double dates. And so we went to this gas station. And there was Eric standing in front of a big rig, watching him pump gasoline into the big tank. Because, he worked at a gas station. Talking to the truck driver, and asking what it was like. And that's so what he wanted to do with his life. And I met him, and he still wasn't my type, but there was something about him that just was different. I can't explain it. It was just different. And I'm a hugger, and I gave, and I told him that. I gave him a great big hug and saw my entire life flash in front of my eyes. I knew I had met the one. Well, that night, we decided to go on our first date. And my responsibility at the age of 16 was to do my laundry, my mom and her husband's laundry at the laundromat. And we had to go to the laundromat. We didn't have a washer or dryer. I know, everyone's like, has a washer and dryer now, for the most part. But no, we did our laundry in the laundromat. So Eric and I went to the laundromat. And he would tell everybody in our first date he got into my pants. Yeah, he folded my laundry. And the end of the night, we were at his house, and I'd done my laundry, and my laundry was sitting in his car. He had a car at the time. And we're, like, his best friend was making out with the flavor of the month. And Eric went to kiss me, and I was awkward, and he was awkward, and I accidentally hit him in the nose. I accidentally punched my husband in the nose the first time he tried to kiss me, and, well, my side of that story of our first date is I broke it, so I bought it. They're very sarcastic, very funny people who loved each other fiercely. And over the years, there are a lot of stories. I'll never forget our proposal. It's a lasting memory. He watched me. He worked at a department store. That is no more. He worked at a department. He worked at Ames. And, they're out of business, so I figure it's safe to say that. And, he, watched me for months eyeball this ring. And, of course, it was my birthstone, and I absolutely loved this ring. And he watched me, and he watched me. And back then, in those days, there was employee discounts, and you got the sale price when it was on sale, plus your employee discount. So my husband's watched and waited, and he waited, and he waited, and he saved, and he waited. And at Christmas time, jewelry was 75% off, and then he got 20% off for his employee discount. So he got the ring at 95% off. And he waited for the right moment in time. Well, he decided the right moment in time was when I had a bunch of friends over, and we were sitting in the living room. We were watching TV. It was another couple that we were friends with. Cannot believe I'm telling this story. Butt naked. He was butt naked. Walked out into the living room, got on his knee, and asked me to marry him. To which, obviously, I said yes. I mean, we spent 36 years together. I obviously said yes. And then said, "Can you please put some clothes on? This is a little inappropriate." And then I figured, since he had put a ring on it, I wanted to meet the rest of his family, because I knew his mom, and, well, that's a story in itself. But we're doing happy stories tonight. And so, I asked him about his dad, and he's like, "You're never going to meet my dad," and I really pressed him on it. He was not happy. So one day he finally just broke down and we went to where his dad worked and he had this banana yellow moped. Oh God, you could hear that thing bzzz, put, put down the road. You always knew when Henry was coming. His banana yellow freaking moped. And we went to his house for dinner. Oh God. And of course, Henry only ate pizza, so we had pizza for dinner. And well, I'm lactose intolerant, and it was a really super greasy pizza. You can tell where this is going. So my stomach was not happy. And so, being a proper lady, every time I had to pass gas, I would go to the bathroom. Well, his dad, being his dad, caught on really fast. And Eric was like, didn't think anything of it. Maybe he knew and he just didn't let on to it. I don't know. And his dad looked at me and said, in this house, we play the fart game. And I'm sitting squarely in between Eric and his dad. And they're going one to the other. If there was a window that could have been opened, they're both smoking cigarettes. The house is filled with smoke and they're toxic gas. And they're scoring each other on who did the best. As we go to leave. Oh, if there was a rock or a hole I could have climbed in, I would have. I stood up and I let one rip. And from behind me, I hear both of them say, "She wins, touchdown." I have never been so mortified in my life. Fast forward a couple of years. My father-in-law was living with us for the end of he had brain cancer. He had 6 months to live, so we moved him in with us to spend as much time as we could because Henry was a really, really good guy. And we were, I had Justin at 18. So I was, 19 at the time when he moved in with us. And, we were 19 when he moved in with us. Do you have a tick? Hold on a second. You did. You had that little bastard was chewing on you. Sorry. Had to get that off my baby girl. You had a tick. I'm so sorry, honey. So fast forward a couple of years. We're 19 years old, and Justin's just a wee little baby. And he was about 2 months old when Henry moved in with us. And they thought it would be hysterical to teach Justin said fart game. And then, oh God, we ended up losing Henry, and God, it was a tragic way that we lost him. But this is supposed to be happy stories. So at the age of 19, Eric's father passed away. And I know, you had a tick. It's somewhere in there. Hold on a second. Okay, sorry, I had to do a said tick. Said tick is no longer said tick. But at any rate, I, and God, he was an amazing guy. Where was I? Sorry, the tick totally distracted me. And then we got married and had Tyler, and Tyler learned said fart game. So I now lived with 3 very, very gassy Sassy guys, and they would all play the fart game, and I would join in because at this point they corrupted me. And God, we were such a oh God, I love our family. We are so not normal, but that's okay. I love it that way. Well, fast forward into our 40s, and Eric got cancer, which, by the way, he did end up beating before he passed, but he was going through chemo, and one night he says, "Hey, honey," and I said, "What?" He said, "Halftime, time to switch sides." To which I looked at him and said, "Oh, hell no, you never trust a chemo fart. You're stuck on that side, buddy." We made jokes. I mean, I've posted videos on TikTok of him having chemo and just, the laughter that we had. It was a serious condition. He had male metastatic breast cancer, which is extraordinarily rare. And he beat it. He found out in last April, after 7 years of going at it, that he beat it. Metastatic breast cancer never really goes away, but it wasn't active, and it was stable. It had been for quite a while, and, we knew he'd never get to ring that bell, but he did it. Yeah, there were just so many stories, our cross-country trip, and we were just, there was so much laughter and so much love, or going to rescue Princess and her mom and her brother Remy. Remy lives with my oldest son. I have Princess and I have Coco, which is their mother, but I do not have Remy. Remy lives with my son. He does come and get to visit, and I love my Remy visits. But, he didn't want to get another dog. He was done. He was like, "We have Sam and we're done." And I needed Princess. I was sent Princess. There's no other way of saying it. Princess was sent to me, and I knew I had to have her. And her mom was like a Sheltie we had many moons ago, who's long since passed. And her mom looks just like her, acts like her. I swear Shiloh was reincarnated into Coco. And that we were meant to go, and we were meant to save her. And we literally, we rescued these dogs. They're still skittish. They still have their issues. I can't do a lot with them. But he humored me, and we drove 5.5 hours, and we laughed, and we sweat our asses off because it was, end of June, July. It was harder than hell. And sweat our asses off 5.5 hours there and 5.5 hours back with 3 Shelties in my lap. But he did it. And he did it because he loved me enough that he knew if I needed her, then I had to have her. And that's just who he was. His last act on this earth before he had his stroke was to baptize our grandson. And it was an honor. It was an honor for him to be chosen to marry our eldest child to his wife. And everyone would ask us, "How you feel losing your son?" And we said, we didn't lose our son. We gained a daughter. And she's one of my best friends. I love that girl to death. And we talk almost every day. I absolutely love her. And, grief is funny. Memories are funny. It's, or dancing on the canoe and driving him insane, or going cross country and looking at things like the St. Louis Arch, or naval airplane museums, or, God, I think everywhere we've gone we've found a zoo, which is more my thing than his, but he went along with it. And somewhere there is a video that he took. Actually, I don't think he took it. It was the Indianapolis Zoo, and I think my son took it, of Eric standing next to me. And it was the first time I saw a lion in person. And I was in tears because they are so majestic and so beautiful. And I have a thing for big cats. You know, I love cheetahs. Snow leopards are my favorite. You know, it was my first time seeing a lion, or the first time I saw a tiger or a lynx. I just, you know, I was just standing there looking at this gigantic male lion at the Indianapolis Zoo, just crying. And he just put his arm around me. He didn't say anything. He just knew. They weren't tears of sadness. It was awe. It was wonder. It was a bucket list thing that was checked off for me. He got to be there for that. You know, or going to the lake, or the particular lake we went to was in Vermont, where it's okay to be naked in public as long as you don't get caught taking your clothes off. So if you walk out of your house naked, perfectly legal. If you take your clothes off in public, not legal. So the trick was, we found this nude beach, and my husband was a nudist, and he wanted to go there, and I was very uncomfortable, and I had just started dealing with, you know, some issues of my self-worth, and so I wasn't quite there yet. And the ladies there were absolutely amazing. And the first time, you know, so we're at this nude beach, and there's these bunch of guys, and, you know, they're making inappropriate comments and saying stuff about me. And they're looking at Eric, and they're like, aren't you gonna, you know, and one of the guys that wasn't making the comments looked at Eric and said, aren't you gonna do anything? And he said, I'm not the one they should worry about. Because he knew. Had they said anything that I thought was crossing a line, you know, because I get hit on, and I'm like, yeah, whatever, and I blow it off. I still get hit on, and I still ignore it and blow it off. Because Eric's my husband. He's been my husband since the day I met him. He will be my husband till my last breath. He was it for me. One and done. And I'm okay with that. With that said, you know, he knew. Had they touched me, had they crossed my line, which he knew what it was, I would have dealt with it. He didn't need to. You know, it was a relationship built on love and trust, and even through 7 years of cancer, we found the humor, and we laughed. We went cross country. We went and we did things. We went to zoos, and we went to beaches, and yeah, it was hard. Yeah, I was scared for him, you know, and yes, I have an anxiety disorder, and that made it, you know, but I was there for him, and he was there for me when I went through my health stuff. Which I actually just got told I'm now on a 2-year schedule. I no longer have to go every year, which is amazing. So I'm doing really well, health-wise. But yeah, he was a family man. He was a long-time trucker. He went to school for carpentry. He could fix anything, which is really annoying that he's not here now, because there are some things that would be fixed right now if he was here that I just can't do by myself. I don't know that it's not that I don't have the knowledge, because I know where I can find it. It's that I weigh less than 100 pounds. I'm still recovering from 3 major surgeries, and I'm grieving. And I just don't have it in me. I just don't. So yeah. So those damn stairs will just have to wait until I can either afford it, or someone takes pity on me. And not that I want pity, but, you know, says, you know, this needs to be done. This is dangerous. and offers to help, or I don't even know. You know, and you're all sitting there saying, ask your kids. Well, they're adults, and they have jobs, and they have kids, and wives, and, well, one of them has kids. The other one, well, he has a cat. That's his baby. Their cat is their baby. Hi, Princess. You are very needy tonight. Do you feel better now that you don't have a tick sucking the life out of you? Mwah. Oh, you kiss me. Oh, you kiss me. Mwah. Yeah, Daddy knew you needed me. Yeah, and Daddy knew I needed you. And I am very thankful to Daddy every day that I have my princess. It was an adventure, but it was a worthwhile one. Because I got you forever. You're my forever puppy. Yes, and you're safe and you're loved. Yeah. You know, there were so many stories. Or me fishing. Or, oh God, there were just so many stories. But, I don't know, I just figured I'd share a little bit about who he was. And, you know, we were a hell of a team. There wasn't a mountain we couldn't have moved together. Not one. You know, we came up against a lot of adversity in 36 years. Life was not always easy. And we always found a way. And it's unfortunate this last time we couldn't. And it wasn't because he didn't try. He tried everything he could to repair his brain. And I tried everything I could to help him. But I firmly believe that there is a plan, and this was the way it was supposed to be. I don't like it. I think it sucks. I miss him every second of every day. But I know there was a reason for it. I just don't understand what it is yet. But whatever it is, it's got to be pretty damn special, because he is a lover of my life, soulmate, my best friend. My whole world revolved around that man. There isn't a plan that I made that he wasn't part of. There wasn't a thought that I had he wasn't part of. And even now, I still catch myself doing it. And it's hard. You know, grief is hard. But I will figure it out. You know, everyone says, oh, it gets easier, and well, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I honestly don't know. I'm not a magical genie. I do not have all the answers. I just know where I am today. And where I am tomorrow may be somewhere completely different. That's a tomorrow problem. But until then, I figured I would share a couple of funny little stories with you and let you know who he was. He was an amazing, strong, kind, highly intelligent human being who would do anything for anyone, no questions asked. Whether you were homeless, didn't matter. Didn't matter your circumstances. If you needed help and he had a way that he could do it, he would. Because that's who he was. So, yeah. So, seeing since my dog is being extraordinarily needy, and I now have a butt on my... She is just being really, really needy. She's obviously wanting me to go to bed and wanting snuggles. And it is, you know, a little after 9 o'clock at night. So I'm going to go snuggle my dog and make up for ripping a tick from her armpit, because apparently she's, you know, wanting some attention because I did that to her. But yeah, so that's a little bit about who Eric was, and I'm sure there will be more stories to come. You know, but yeah, that's my husband. Amazing human being, and the world got a little bit colder without him in it. So, till next time, I hope you have a great day. Hit like. If I'm posting this if you're watching this on my YouTube channel, please subscribe. If you're on my TikTok, you're more than welcome to follow. Either way, hit the like button. You know, if you like the content I'm doing and you find it helpful, let me know. You know, if you want me to broach a subject around, broach another topic within this realm, let me know. So, until then, have a great night, and I will talk to you later.